Hello. Amazing day, everyone. I hope all is safe and doing well today during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd really appreciate it if you can type on your chat boxes your location right now while I give some introduction about myself and our agenda for today. I am also informed that we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So for those watching live on YouTube and Facebook, kindly type into the comment section your locations so that the admin can forward it to us here at Zoom, or perhaps I can read it from my other monitors here. Okay, let me share my screen. How do I share my Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. Can we please turn off our mic? Thank you. Okay, again, amazing morning to everyone. Today's webinar is entitled Introduction to Self-Leadership. It is actually an introduction to a full course that I conduct with Limitless Power Coach, which is entitled Basic Leadership Skills Training that is scheduled on August 28th. I will give you the details later. Now, let me see. We have audience from Santa Maria, Bulacan, Oro, Quezon City, and where else can I see from Zoom? Let me see the chat box here. Okay, we have from Baguio, Cavite, from Coronadal City, Las Piñas, wow. Okay, all over Philippines. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Hold on, I'm having some technical here for the slides. Okay. Thank you for joining us today. Moving on, let me give you some reminders about our webinar today, especially to those who are here with me logged in on Zoom application. I highly suggest that you participate using the chat boxes on your screen and some emojis like the thumbs up or other icons you may find there. For those who are in YouTube or Facebook, you can participate using the comment section. If you have any questions, try to write it on a piece of paper or on your cell phones, and we will have a question and answer portion. Or perhaps you want to share something on the latter part of our session if we still have time. Okay, before I start introducing myself, can I see a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, we still have an audience coming in. There are people from Taytay, from Pampanga, Clark, LGU, Las Nieves. All right. So I guess you can hear me okay since you've been answering my questions a while ago. An introduction about myself. I am RCee. I am a graduate of AB Psychology at De La Salle University, and I took my master's in business administration at Ateneo Graduate School of Business. I am a mompreneur. I've been separated and co-parenting to a wonderful and loving Tres Marias and a boy. I was previously an HR director to the business of my kid's dad, where we started with one branch and grew into 10 branches of grocery chains and distributorship of grocery supplies when I stepped down. From 13 employees, I had to arrange the organizational structure and train people from ground up. And with the demand for recruitment at that time, I founded a Manpower Constructing and Subcontracting in 2014. Right now, we have janitorial services, HR, accounting, online marketing, and others. So if companies don't want to directly hire staff or personnel, get our services, as we also take care of the equipments and materials needed for the task at hand. In 2016, knowing that employees would not only need technical skills training, I founded Limitless Power Coach Training and Consultancy, not only for our existing employee self-development, but to also cater other corporate management. I produce an event yearly called Philippine Leaders Conference, which we have had held in Clark Marriott Hotel 2 years in a row already. Perhaps this year we will be trying the online event due to the pandemic. In addition, on my family side, I am a managing director of TR and OGR Corporation. It's an acronym of our family's name, where the last R is my name, as I am the youngest in the family. Our first restaurant, among other businesses, started in 1997, named after my mother, called Tessie's Restaurant, Events, and Catering Services. It is in Tarlac City, just in front of SM Tarlac City. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we can't maximize the newly renovated place, which could cater 300 seating capacity. OGR Corporation is the business name and style of Dampa sa Tarlac and Dampa sa Pangasinan. With the different leadership exposures I have had in my life, books I have read, and videos I have watched that I use and implement on my actual leadership journey, my entrepreneurial spirit is practically hardwired since I was young. And since I have already said a lot about myself, I would like to know more about you by answering some questions that I may have during the session. So please don't hesitate to use the chat boxes or comment section. Okay, we still have people coming in from Bohol and Davao. Okay, we have people in YouTube from Tarlac, my kababayans. So, basically, we will be discussing these bullet points on introduction to leadership, which are the difference of leadership versus self-leadership, importance of self-leadership on your career with whatever status or position you are in. I will also give you 4 tips on how to improve on your self-leadership and discuss 4 skills you as leaders need during these tough times. So basically, leadership is the ability to influence people in order to get things done. Meanwhile, self-leadership is the ability to consciously influence your own thoughts, your own thoughts and behavior in order to achieve your personal goals or an organization's objectives. So you see, the difference is that self-leadership is quite intrinsic, no, sa sarili, and doesn't depend on anyone. Self-led people mostly take their own decisions and set personal targets. This ability is typical of entrepreneurs, mentors, top managers, etc. So we say a person has self-leadership skills when he has foresight, no? Makes the right decisions and choices on his or her own, and exhibits dedication towards achieving these goals. Aside from goal setting, self-awareness is another factor that helps make people great self-leaders. Every manager, supervisor, or team leader must possess self-leadership skills. Okay, self-leadership is the first stage or level of leadership for employees, whether managers or ordinary subordinates. Self-leadership is of great importance. As a manager, you receive very little or no supervision, right? This means you should be able to plan and set your objectives on your own, as well as influence your own self to follow those plans. As lower level employee, you can never be sure the kind of management or leaders you will meet in the course of your career. Despite whatever leadership you may come across, whether laissez-faire, democratic, or autocratic, you should be able to exhibit self-leadership. By the way, yung types of leadership styles will be discussed during the full course training. So employers usually like workers who can take great decisions on their own and are able to influence themselves to work effectively. I, for one, is an advocate of this. Self-leadership helps make the individual proactive, disciplined, and an independent decision maker. People who have no strong sense of self-leadership tend to feel they are not in control of themselves, often lack focus, and get overwhelmed easily. Usually, ito yung mga mabilis ma-burn out sa work or would usually complain about their managers, employers, or bosses. So, how do we improve on self-leadership? Self-leadership is indisputably a lovable skill. Here are 4 tips that should help you improve on self-leadership skills. First is clarity of purpose. Every leadership or leader has a vision. Being your own leader, your purpose or vision will be the foundation upon which you will build self-leadership. Without properly scripted objectives or purpose for your life, you will be at peril or danger, trying to follow people's plans. You end up stuck in the middle of nowhere. I myself was like a headless chicken before. I don't know what I want to do in my life and would just get my goals to achieve from other people. This is especially true with Filipinos since we have close family ties and we are usually obedient with our parents. So minsan sila na namimili or nagsasabi ng dapat nating gawin sa buhay, na minsan nawawala na tayo ng sariling identity or personal goals. And in the end, we are not happy with what we are doing. Then sometimes we find ourselves feeling that we don't belong to the organization we are into because we don't share the same purpose or values. Okay, I would want you to write on the chat boxes or comment section now the answer to this question. And I will read it after the second tip on how to improve on self-leadership. The question is, what do you value most? I want your answer to be of a characteristic, a feature or quality of a person. Example, honesty, humility, or compassion. Okay, again, answer the question, what do you value most, on the chat box now. Okay, second way to improve on self-leadership is to aim at success and take reasonable risk. Risk-taking is an essential aspect of life. Challenge yourself to take on daring projects. Don't discourage yourself with past failures of yourself or others, but instead focus on success. Sabi nga nila, if you fall 7 times, get up 8 times. This is because failure is part of success. However, there should be reasonable calculated risks that are relevant to your purpose. Let's say in business or entrepreneurship, if your purpose is to have a profitable business so you can help other people by generating employment, and one of your values is responsibility. So that means when we say calculated risk, you make sure that when your plan fails, you still have money to pay for your suppliers or debts that you may have because you must be responsible. Or perhaps you want to be a successful leader, no? Leading your team. And one of your values is fairness. So that means if anyone from the group go astray or is not following the set of rules and regulations, you must do the right thing by, for example, dismissing that person to lessen the damages that he or she may continually cause, but considering the fact that there will be no operational halt or paralyzation. So yung reasonable risk mo is letting go of one team member to uplift the whole by showing fairness. Kasi unfair naman doon sa mga team members na gumagawa ng tama or sumusunod sa rules and regulations, right? So that's our second way on how to improve on self-leadership. Now let me read your answers to my question a while ago. What do you value most? Zoom participants, they said integrity, and compassion, passion and respect. Okay. Cooperation. Okay, value, self-discipline. And from YouTube, integrity, honesty, humility, compassion. Okay, honesty and integrity. So mostly are honesty, integrity, compassion, and respect. Okay, thank you for those answers. Now I want you to write an example of reasonable risk you have had already endured on your leadership journey, or maybe still planning or anticipating to overcome. Okay, this question is related to our second tip on how to improve on self-leadership. Okay, again, give me an example, write an example of reasonable risk you have had already endured on your leadership journey, or maybe still planning or anticipating to overcome. Write it on the chat or comment box and I will read your answers later. Okay, on to the third way on how to improve on self-leadership is spending time to reflect on your life. While you remain the active doer of the things you do, you may see things from your perspective only. So the key here is to take some time off to reflect on your life. Compare the past to the present and the present to future goals. Until you take a break to analyze yourself, you may never identify certain petty shortcomings. Reflections can also mean allowing someone to make an objective assessment of you. That's why we have evaluations or feedbacking sessions in our organizations, right? I myself keeps the vision board on my phone where I take time to reflect once in a while on how far I am on reaching my goals or how far I have grown from my past failures or shortcomings. The key here also is to have comparison on yourself, like your past self and present self, and not compare yourself to other people. So dapat introspective approach. That way, you only focus on improving yourself and not feeling bad about yourself by comparing with other people's progress or achievements. So that's our third way on how to improve on self-leadership. Now let me read your answers to my request a while ago on giving an example of reasonable risk. So Ms. Evelyn said, coping with the pandemic and increasing resiliency of the staff. Okay. Sir Jurio, continuing to do the right thing amidst the undue criticisms from others. Very good. Ma'am Alma, misunderstandings of goals between employees and heads. This is very common. Okay, thank you for those answers. All right, okay. Now my question is just answerable by yes or no. I just want to know who of you spends time on reflecting on your life regularly. This means daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Kaya nga, at least once a year, meron tayong tinatawag na New Year's resolution na most of the time, hindi naman na-achieve. But maybe there are people who are accountable and responsible to achieve the goals they have set for themselves. Put yes on the chat or comment box if you do regular reflection. And no, if you think you have no time to do self-reflection because you are too busy doing other tasks. I will read your answers later. So may pahabol pa tayo with Edwin. Misunderstanding with the given task. Okay, so I hope you are overcoming that or you have overcome that. And Michael said, go on no matter what. Okay. Last but not the least on how to improve on self-leadership is don't tolerate just anything. You cannot put your vision at risk. Okay, you should learn to be intolerant of any suggestion or ideas which are not in line with your vision. This intolerance is not towards others only, but yourself too. It includes not tolerating negative aspects of your nature, such as laziness, fear, timidity, no, procrastination, etc. Make sure that you push yourself to be a better version of you, one notch or one step at a time. Small progress is better than no progress at all, right? Don't stop growing and developing yourself as long as you live. So that's the last tip I have on how to improve on your self-leadership. Now let's see how many of you do self-reflection. Okay, most of you, yes, 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 yes. Okay, there's no. So I guess you do self-reflection regularly, which is a good thing, no? Which gives you self-awareness, no? Okay, thank you for those answers. Now my question is, what bad habits would you like to overcome, or perhaps you are already trying to overcome nowadays? Write it on the chat or comment box and I will read it later. No? Bad habits you would like to overcome. Okay, let me share a quote from Lao Tzu that resonates our topic on self-leadership. Let us all remember that mastering others is strength and mastering yourself is true power. You cannot influence others if you yourself have not mastered the authentic leader in you. Okay. Now, moving on to our last agenda. During this global pandemic, our lives have turned upside down, and it's really made me question if we are tough enough to keep going. This pandemic has rapidly begun to stress test the strength of our infrastructure and economy, our trust in society, and ultimately the resiliency of humanity. However, as the popular saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Unprecedented times like this, where so many of us are being subjected to situations where we are never been before. Patience is little and frustrations are high. Also present an unprecedented opportunity for each of us to show up as a true leader before our employees. Leaders who strive to evolve themselves and their teams with empathy, trust, and strategic thinking. Now, we should be like that as leaders. Leading with empathy is the first skill we need to lead in these tough times. Whether you're a new leader or have been in your current role for some time, it is always advantageous to develop new skills to keep up and stay ahead of the curve. Most times, these skills revolve around thought leadership, effective management, breaking barriers, negotiations, etc. How about adding empathy? to these skills as we evolve and refine them. Yeah, right? Our employees across the globe have to work from home and care for their children or aging family members while continuing to deliver on their job duties. Now is a good time for leaders of organizations at all levels to have conversations with their employees to better understand their day-to-day situations and provide the necessary support. Make one-on-ones about immersing yourself in the reality of your employees and being thoughtful when asking for deliverables against deadlines. Our organization should be focused on ensuring the mental health of our members. It should be on top of our mind in all our engagements. Several of our members have been impacted as a result of layoffs or skeletal forces, either directly or through supporting a family member who was acknowledging how difficult this market is. It would go a long way if we as leaders extend a helping hand to all these employees with resources, care, and guidance to help them navigate this difficult environment. You may host virtual meetups, panels, networking opportunities, or even wellness workshops for people to gather, share a drink, and have an opportunity to look beyond their current reality. My team and I made sure we met and ate at the office for the birthday celebrators last July, although we are mostly doing work from home nowadays. I also help in my own little way to share my personal resources to those who are affected financially. Okay, that's our first skill we need on leading during these tough times. Now let's see your answers on my question. What bad habit would you like to overcome? Okay, let's see here. Procrastination, says Macaulay and Marinel. Mainitin. Mainitin ng ulo? Herman? Jurio, procrastination and impatience. Sherwin, bahala na si Batman habit. Leia, being sensitive to coworkers. Perhaps you can improve on your emotional intelligence, or maybe you can be more resilient about being sensitive by knowing that it's not about you, right? Minsan kasi projection tayo, no? Alma, fear to act. Michael, mañana habit. No? Procrastination also. Edwin, being frank when out of control. Well, you can be frank. Maybe this is not a bad habit if you are frank in a way that you say it nicely, or maybe you say it in a way that they would listen to you because you're not saying it in a harsh way, no? Baka minsan tactless, no? That's a different story. Leia, fear to boss. Oh, you have to overcome that. Janet, afraid of saying no. Oh, you have to know how to set boundaries. Michael, too much thinking. No, sometimes we are worry warts. We overthink. Na sometimes it's beyond the reality already. That's why it gives us fear by overthinking. Evelyn, being impatient. Roxanne, worrying too much. Herman, yes, insecurities, says Lourdes. Okay, and here in YouTube, Miss Lou said, too much consideration to others' feelings. Too much empathy. Well, it depends, no? It's a bad habit if giving too much consideration means not setting boundaries anymore, no? Na-abuse or na-abuso. So you should overcome that also by giving them the facts and telling them the reality na, oh, hanggang dito lang. There's a boundary. Okay? Okay, thank you for those answers. Now, my next question is, how do you show empathy with your employees? no? If you are an employer, or to your team, if you are a manager, supervisor, or team leader, or perhaps simply to your coworkers. Again, how do you show empathy? I will read your answers later. Next skill is be a multiplier. Now is a great opportunity to bring people within your organization together, to liberate talent and develop those employees who are seeking guidance to grow. During these times, focus more on the individuals who make up your team rather than the deliverables. With most of our teams likely working remotely, investing in your employees with thoughtful mentorship will encourage them to take on challenging opportunities that will help bring improved experiences and benefits to your customers and members. Being a multiplier is one of the key traits of good leadership, especially when times are tough. It is easy to default to a deliverables and deadlines style of management, thus operating as a diminisher. Being mindful of how you show up before your employees will determine how your employees show up too. Me and my team have been sharpening our tools at home by developing our technical and digital skills we all are since all are done online suddenly, researching and trying new things to improve on what we do. I, for one, have been trying to develop new sets of skills and encouraging them to do the same. I try to instill in them the yes, we can mindset and attitude, that we should never lose hope. Thus, being creative and innovative should help us get past through these tough times. So I hope all the leaders here are multipliers. Now let me read the bad habits you would like to overcome. They help. Okay. Oh, I think I have already done that. So maybe the next is the empathy, rather. How do you show empathy? Jurio, by helping him or her through the rough times he or she is experiencing. Okay, how? How do you help your members? Edwin, asking how is she or he, especially when there's a new joiner in the team. Okay, so like doing one-on-one and getting to know each other. By extending my understanding, considering their situation as well, and thinking of our company VMGO, vision, mission, goals, and objectives that have common share, says Macaulay. David, being transparent. Herman, openness. Sherwin, by understanding how they feel. Okay, by truly understanding how they feel means not projection, no? Minsan kasi when people are sharing their experiences or their emotions to us, we feel like na re-relate natin sa sarili natin. So parang yung understanding natin is more of the projection of ourselves. But really understanding other people is just listening and like telling them that you understand what they're saying. Leia, being friendly. Edwin, extend mentorship. Janet, by supporting my staff at all times, listening to them with their ideas and how to improve our services, okay, like brainstorming. We have here Charles, being blunt. Oh, I think this is for the bad habits that he wants to overcome. Michael, be a problem solver. Problem solver. Or perhaps you can coach your staff by leading him or her the thought process and how to solve his or her problem. That way, hindi siya masyadong needy sa'yo or hindi siya dependent too much on how to solve a problem. So there will be an autonomy or confidence. That person can build her or his confidence by knowing how to solve problems on his or her on her own pace, no, or style. So parang it's related to coaching. Thank you for those answers. So my next question is, which is related to being a multiplier, what aspect of you would you like to multiply to others? Like for me, I want to multiply the yes, we can mindset to our team. Okay, again, write it on the chat or comment box and I will read it later. What aspect of you would you like to multiply to others? Okay. Third skill, smart work over hard work. Not being in an office can make it confusing for employees who are used to being seen by their superiors. Now, working remotely, employees are under the pressure to be always on, whether that is immediately responding to emails through midnight or working through dinner time and family time. This mentality can start to affect employees' mental state because there is no off button, no 5 p.m. end of the day, no taking the public transportation back home. Employers trying to prove they are not slacking off while at home has resulted in the counter behavior of being always on. Not only is this unnecessary, but it's also unhealthy. As leaders, it is important that you show up as not being always on. This mentality sets a poor example for your team and puts pressure on them to do the same. Speak to your employees about the value of smart work, working on schedules that are reasonable for their work-life balance. It's a balance of working on deliverables that drive maximum impact and not feeling the peers by working past what is necessary. Even before this pandemic, I have had trained my team not seeing me in the office, since this is the lifestyle I have set to myself and is part of my goal. But they know I am always available online. But nonetheless, they know I am more interested on the results than micromanaging them. I show up to those individuals that need guidance with their work and when I need to interfere to help them come up with solutions. But I always involve them with the thought process on how to resolve challenges so that the next time it happens, they know how to go about it better and not to feel helpless and feel the need for me to interfere again, but instead the scenario would be more of sharing the resolution they have done and how they came about it. I also have this habit of messaging them late at night, past midnight, or during weekends. But I make a disclaimer on my messages that it is for the purpose so I don't forget my message to them. And they don't need to do it now, but take note that it is for the next day or next working day. That way, they don't feel pressured on answering me right away. So that's working smart over working hard. Now, let me read your answers on what aspect of you would you like to multiply to others. Okay. Jenny, being a multitasker and flexible. Herman, skills improvement. Macaulay, skills, experience, expertise, empathy. Edwin, initiative and yes, can do mentality. Oh, we're the same. Jackie Mill, dedication to work. Jurio, determination to get things done. Roxanne, still aiming and working for the set goal, the set of goals despite of negativities. Okay, perhaps this is also the yes we can attitude or optimism. Okay, and then we have here Charles, giving breaks when needed. Nancy, being systematic. Lou, working, knowing God is watching me. Oh, this is related to integrity. Oh, Charles is efficiency. All right. Okay, thank you for those answers. My next question is, give me an example on how you work smart over working hard. Okay, how you work smart over working hard. Again, write it on the chat or comment box and I will read it later. Last but not the least, focus on the big picture. It is easy to get caught up on the smaller details rather than focusing on the big pictures. With patients generally running risky levels of low, be the leader who always keeps the big picture in mind and enables conversations, priorities, and decisions to move the bigger needle and let the little things go. Being the visionary that you are as a leader, make sure the focus of the team don't get blurry during tough times by reminding them of the bigger picture of what you are all trying to do or achieve in the company, by letting them be reminded of the mission and objectives of the organization. So this is my last slide before our question and answer, or maybe sharing of your experiences related to our topic. Now let me see your examples on how you work smart over working hard. David, time management and prioritization. Herman, working multi-skills. Jackie Mill, like you, I focus on the output, okay, and, or the result. Edwin, being innovative and flexible. Macaulay, I am starting with my SMART VMGO, then I am making a doable action plan to achieve such vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Okay, very good. Jurio, using technology in doing the job and dividing the role among the members. So this is related to delegation. Evelyn, time management and learning new technologies to improve my output. Okay. And here we have initiative, flexibility, innovation, and multitasking. Wow. Okay. Very good. Thank you for all those who participated on answering all my questions from the beginning. It's been fun reading your answers. Michael, yes, absolutely important. The time management to handle the different situations. Okay. So let this be your takeaway as a leader. It is important to evolve and promote a mindful and supportive culture during this uncertain time. Okay, mindful and supportive culture. Show up as the leader your team needs by leading with empathy, trust, and strategic thinking. All right, we still have, okay, Eugene said, oh, Michael, yes, how can I get your PowerPoint presentation? You want a copy of my PowerPoint? Perhaps they can email it to you, okay, after the session. All right, we still have an ample of time for question and answer. Maybe I could answer one or two. You can write on the chat box your questions, or maybe you could turn on your mic on to ask, or perhaps you may want to share something about yourself that is related to what we have discussed. Okay, be sure to accomplish a goal at the end of working hours. This is from Nancy from YouTube. Okay. Eugene said, informative, salamat po. You're welcome. Okay, Churio, thank you for the information. All right, well, I guess we don't have questions. Or do you want to share anything? I was taking my MBA right now and my last SEM. Oh, that's good. Did you know that I took my master's degree for 5 years? And during that time, I had 2 pregnancies and 2 corporations that I opened. But in the end, I finally finished it, and I'm so grateful. And it helped me a lot. I learned a lot and met a lot of great people there. Okay, so I guess there's no questions. More of thank yous, links to your media accounts, ma'am. Okay. Perhaps I can put my page, my personal page, but let me share this first. Okay. Again, thank you, fellow leaders, for listening and staying with me this morning. Before our photo opportunity, don't go yet. No, we will have photo opportunity here at Zoom application. I would like to get this time to invite you on August 28th. It's a Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I will be conducting an online full course on basic leadership skills training. The objectives of the full course is listed on the screen. It is now 67% off. You will only pay $500 instead of $1,500. This already includes an e-certificate on face-to-face training before COVID. It is actually worth $3,000 per person. For more details, I believe the team sent you a link privately. Also, if you would want to get an e-certificate for today, you may contact the admin. On August 28th, it would also be a great platform during the pandemic to network via online training, since those who will attend may keep in touch with each other, because we may provide other participants' contact details with participants' consents, of course. So this will also be a way to promote your company or business, or just be a way to make new friends online. And on August 28th, we will do a lot of activities, and it will be facilitated in such a way that everyone can talk and share, since leadership includes having good communication skills. And if you want to watch the replay of this webinar, you may do so by subscribing to Limitless Power Coach's YouTube channel. The link is also provided by the admin on the chat boxes. For those watching in Facebook and YouTube, the admin will also send the said links there. Okay, so let me share here my personal page, although I seldom update it, but you will definitely see the photo of today. I will upload it. Okay, here is my personal page. Maybe the admin can also forward it to YouTube. Okay. All right. Once again, thank you, and have an amazing time for the rest of the day. I will be turning off the screen and request everyone on Zoom application to turn on their videos for photo op.
Lagi kemarin saya pada narin
I-take sa phone nyo para magamit nyo. Okay, where's admin?